everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be exploring how to not get eliminated from a flat show. And I know you're probably thinking, Mooney, you are not the best at this. You always get eliminated from your flat shows.
And yes, you are correct.
But hear me out. I have gone on a very extensive journey in the flat show world. I have entered so many flat shows in the past month, and I've collected all of the knowledge possible from friends, personal experiences, and of course, Google. Don't ever underestimate Google. It is so helpful. So today we will be going over tire, skill, courses, and then some extra tips and tricks that I've used to kind of hack the system. So first, starting off strong, I have one particular outfit that pretty much never fails me. So for Tack, you're gonna want a brown saddle and bridle. I wouldn't recommend that you use a black saddle. Black saddles are more commonly associated with dressage. For the saddle pad, you're going to want a white 𝘏𝘭𝘭𝘰. I had no idea
What a 𝘏𝘭𝘭𝘰 was.
It took me forever to figure this out. Thank goodness I know what it means now. The things you're going to want to avoid: you do not want to wear any bridle with a flash, and you do not want any leg wraps. Next, we're going to be covering what the ribbons mean. The most common ribbon is the red ribbon. This means that your horse is prone to kicking or spinning or any sort of aggressive behavior. So when you see a horse with a red ribbon, you're going to want to stay away from them and make sure that you're giving them space. Next, we have a green ribbon, which is for an inexperienced horse, or quite literally a green horse, which just means a horse that is young or hasn't been ridden or trained for very long. Next, we have a white ribbon, which means the horse is for sale. I don't know why you would use this ribbon in Star Stable unless it was for roleplay purposes, because you can't buy or sell horses in the game. Next is a blue or yellow ribbon. I haven't seen this ribbon in a flat show in Star Stable yet, but when I was doing my research, both of these ribbons came up to be very similar in purpose. They just mean a stallion or aggressive gelding. And then finally, we have the pink ribbon, which means a mare that is in heat. I also found this to be a little bit strange for Star Stable, but you know,
I don't make the rules.
Next up, we have your character's attire. So we'll start off with the show jacket. I would recommend for these specific competitions that you stick to a fairly neutral show jacket. So this means black, navy, or dark green. I would say that those are your best chances to not get eliminated. Not to say that you can't bring a pink or purple show jacket. I always bring those because you just can't resist. But I would recommend that you don't try to be a rebel like me. Next, you want to wear a pair of tan pants. These can be any shade of tan. Next, you're going to want to use a black English riding helmet. This again can be any black riding helmet that you find. Next, you need a pair of black gloves. And finally, a pair of black tall riding boots. I don't think this is essential, mostly because there are not many hairstyles available in the game right now. But I always like to put my character in a ponytail or a braid or a bun or any kind of hairstyle that is up and out of the way. I think it's just ingrained in my brain from growing up riding horses that your hair should be tucked up in your helmet, but I've never noticed anybody getting eliminated for not having their hair up. That pretty much covers your entire outfits. Moving right along to skill, you might be wondering, is there really any skill involved in doing a flat show on Star Stable? And I'm happy to proudly say yes, but of course it's pretty limited. There are just a few things that you can avoid to make sure that you get the best placing possible. And I think it's pretty clear that the reason I am terrible at flat shows is I have no skill. It's okay. We've gotten better. At least I know all the information, even if I can't execute it. The first thing I would mention is to have quick transitions. So this means as soon as the chat bubble pops up from the judge, that you are paying attention and making sure to follow the command as quickly as possible. That's mainly what they're looking for. Next, you want to focus on your spacing. So making sure that you're not running into anybody or glitching or circling or cutting anybody off. And I would say the best strategies to do this are curling and going on the quarter line. The quarter line is your best friend. You can get seen by the judge and you can avoid a lot of people that way. So next, for the skill portion, I just want to go over all of the commands and what they are going to look like. So of course, there are the basic gaits first. So we have walk, trot, canter, extended canter, which can also be known as a hand gallop. Next, you could be asked to halt, reverse, And then finally, you could be asked to sitting trot as well. I know on PC it is controlled to sit the trot. I'm not sure what it is on mobile. I'm not even sure that it's possible on mobile, to be honest. I've seen some judges accommodate people on mobile and say that they don't have to sit the trot because of this. Next, for the backup, this can sometimes be tricky. Usually the judge states whether they want you to be counting the front legs or the back legs, but I would say if you're in doubt, I would always go with the back legs because that seems to be the most common. Next are circles or passing or any of those kind of things. First, you might see cutting, which just means to quite literally cut across the ring. Next is curling, which is a very tight circle. Next is a circle. So this means just slightly bigger than a curl. You can use your space a little bit more, but I would be careful with this one just so that you don't cut anybody off. Next is passing. So you pass right by somebody, usually on the quarter line or just slightly off the rail. Moving on to horses, your first thought might be, when I start talking about this, is does your horse matter for placing in a flat show? And the short answer is no. If you're judged on your horse breed, that is very unfair. I feel like there are certain breeds to choose that make your life so much easier when it comes to executing commands and gaits and standing out. I would recommend that you avoid the American Quarter Horse and the Criollo, not because of how they look, but more of just because their backup is very, very fast and it's really hard to count the steps. Breeds I would recommend for bringing to a flat show are the Dutch Warmblood, the Belgian Warmblood, the 𝑰𝒒 and the Dartmoor Pony. These breeds are not required to win. I just feel like they're easier to use for flat shows. Also, they are the more traditionally used horses for this discipline in real life. All right, everyone, we have almost reached the end of our marvelous
flat show journey.
So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is my tips and tricks, just based off things I've observed. The first tip that I'm going to give you is you never know how strict or how serious each judge is going to be. So I wouldn't take it personally if you get eliminated based on something you think you didn't do, because that just happens. This game is very laggy and there's also the problem of screen delay. So it's you do your best. You also never know if the flat show that you entered is going to be a giant prank or scheme. Unfortunately, I've witnessed a lot of prank flat shows, so don't stress yourself out. It's just for fun. My second and final tip is to choose a location with a large arena. I think these locations allow you to have a better chance at maintaining your spacing and not letting the lag and screen delay hinder you too much. My favorite arenas are the Silverglade Manor arenas just because they're so spacious and it makes it so much easier to circle or curl or even have a point where you never really have to pass anybody. Just super nice. That is going to conclude the ultimate flat show guide that I have made for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed and I hope this is very helpful to you if you're just starting out on flat shows or looking to get better. Also, let me know in the comments your experiences with flat shows, if you had a really crazy experience, a really funny experience, or all of the above. I feel like I'm not the only one who has had a really insane experience with flat shows, so I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day and good luck if you decide to enter a flat show. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!